Good evening. Welcome to the test missions on 160 metres in the narrowband FM mode. This is vk3sl. And big day today. I only just got home and I've got to go out shortly, but I'll be monitoring. I'm only very local. And so what we'll do is we'll put something on in a moment and it'll hopefully run its course. But before doing that, I'll just a quick disclaimer that these are test missions on 160 and they are tone tests. If you're listening on air and if you listen online, you're welcome to indulge and enjoy the show. Yes, that's the way it works. vk3sl as a dedicated YouTube channel, and there's also a blog spot devoted to these missions, vk3sl.blogspot.com. That's the way it all works. So what we'll do, just before I head off and about, I'll play the light music segment. This is a chapel disc, or it's a KP disc that I actually do have here in the collection, but it's nicely dressed up in this Mr. H's archive, and it has a preamble from the BBC, which is sort of quite cute, really. This is the theme from the from Sporting the News. It was a newsreel special with Cinesound and movie tone, and Sporting the News was a sort of an upbeat component, as you can well imagine, and the track that heralded that was a KP. It was performed by the, wait a minute while I just do this, it was performed by the Group 40 Orchestra, and a track called Pink Fizz. This is VK3SL testing.
Good morning, everyone. This is the BBC Light programme on wavelengths of 1,500 and 261 metres. It's the first time we've said those words, BBC Light programme, which we hope are going to mean for you now and in the days to come all that is best in radio entertainment from 9 o'clock in the morning to midnight.
Listening to Pink Fizz. That was Edward Cook conducting the Group 40 Orchestra on an old KP music library disc. And that's our light music example for today. Well, I've got to head off for a short time and do something important. And while I'm doing that, I can put on the latest Zoot list. Now, this is really exciting. Mr. Zoot has come up with an extended playlist, a 40-minute playlist of whereby he's re-equalised almost miraculously recordings made by Ambrose and his orchestra featuring Sam Brown. These are recordings made in 1930 with the Ambrose Orchestra, which were one of the highest, most highly polished bands in the UK. But what he's done here is next to miraculous, really. I think he's used intelligent EQ, and he somehow just brought the music to life in a way that I've never heard before. Now, he previously uploaded these, and then he's done it again, and he's made the disclaimer that he's found a new method. Well, all I can say is it works spectacularly. Have a listen, see what you think, and it'll be a bit compressed being on air, but I have to say, listening on the big speaks here, it's just a revelation. Ambrose and his orchestra with Sam Brown, recordings made in 1930, and I'm vk3sl.
The song I had in my heart that harmonized with the pines. Anyone can see what's troubling me. I'm crying for the Carolines. Where is the brook that kisses the lane, covered with glory vines? Anyone can see what's troubling me. I'm crying for the Carolines. How can I smile, mile after mile? There's not a bit of green here. Birdies all stay far, far away. They're seldom ever seen here. Where is the gal that I used to meet down where the pale moon shines? Anyone can see what's troubling me. I'm crying for the Carolines. the nightingales could sing like you, that sing much sweeter than they do, for you brought a new kind of love to me. If the Sandman brought me dreams of you, I'd want to sleep my whole life through, for you've brought a new kind of love to me. I know that I'm the slave, you're the queen, but still you can understand that underneath it all, you're a maid, and am I the only man? I would work and slave the whole day through if I could hurry home to you, for you've brought a new kind of love to me. Things that bother you never bother me. I think everything's fine. Living in the sunlight, loving in the moonlight, having a wonderful time. Haven't got a lot, I don't need a lot, coffee's only a dime. Living in the sunlight, loving in the moonlight, having a whale of a time. Just take it from me, I'm just as free as any dove. I do what I like, just when I like, and how I love it. I don't give a hoot, give my cares the boot, all the world is in rhyme. Living in the sunlight, loving in the moonlight, having a wonderful time. mansion or furnished room, she doesn't care. When a woman loves a man, sharing each pain and ill, both going through the mill. Just being miserable gives her a thrill. When a woman loves a man, he may be conceited, a weakling who cheated, but still one woman in town. Can't help but feel that someday he'll settle down. Pile up your 7 seas, mountains and rocks and trees. You're up against a thing stronger than these. When a woman loves a man. Just like in a storybook, I'm almost afraid to look. I might turn around and find you gone, gone. Every moment seems an age, less you're there on every page. Smiling illustrations lead me on and on. Through our ups and downs, we'll love with all our might. They can't steal our stuff, we own the copyright. Just like all the heroes do, I'll even go to work for you, just like in a storybook come true. to see my broker, find out what he can do, 'cause I'm in the market for you. There won't be any joker, with margin I'm all through, 'cause I want you outright, it's true. You're going up, up, up in my estimation. I want 1,000 shares of your caresses too. We'll count the hugs and kisses when dividends are due, 'cause I'm in the market for you. Sitting in a corner, then what'll we do? We'll sing a little theme song, we two. honey, when you come back, my blue days will be fewer. How they sigh, and so do I, when the little red roses get the blues for you. In the park, unromantic and plain, that bench in the park will be our lover's lane. The glimmering light of a lamp or a moon, a cold dreary night, but in our hearts there is June. A lone little bird in the branches above is plaintively heard, serenading our love. And what more do we need, you and I in the dark, on a bench in the park? things you would do. I run my hands through silvery strands, 'cause I'm blue, turning gray over you. You used to be so good to me. That's when I was a novelty. Now you have new thrills in view. Found someone new, left me blue, turning gray over you. I used to call her pet names, tell her she was divine.
But she turned out to be the girlfriend of a boyfriend of mine.
I used to take her places, she loved to dance and dine.
But she turned out to be the new friend of an old friend of mine.
I found that love was just a joke, learnt what a broken heart meant. I even started out to get a kitchenette apartment. She thrilled me with her glances, her kisses were like wine.
But she turned out to be a close friend of a Scotch friend of mine.
just to make you cheer up. Have a little faith in me. In the distance there's a silver lining, I see it shining, and that just means success and happiness. Oh, I'll come through, dear, with the help of you, dear. Have a little faith in me. My baby don't care for shows, my baby don't care for clothes, my baby just cares for me. My baby don't care for furs and laces, my baby don't care for high-toned places, my baby don't care for rings or other expensive things, she's sensible as can be. My baby don't care who knows it, my baby just cares for me. swinging, where ivy vines are clinging, it seems that they are singing good evening. The whole day I've been craving to reach our little haven, where I can see you waving good evening. There's old Mr. Moon smiling down his greeting, while the twinkling stars and their welcome too, they're telling you what bliss is and what a great well this is, while you tell me with kisses good evening.
You've been listening to a selection of recordings featuring Ambrose and his orchestra, records made for Victor, or HMV, in Britain in 1930. Recent upload by Mr. Zoot, and these are exemplary. I have to say, having heard the earlier incarnation of these, they were quite noisy, and he's done something amazing to reduce the noise and to re-equalise. And there are a number of intelligent re-EQ platforms out now which can perform veritable miracles. So it's a question of just watching the space and seeing the technologies unfold. So that was really quite something. So we'll continue now with our segment of our OTR segment. And we've run out of CIBs and D24s. We've exhausted the collection available to me at this time, and we'll now move on to a different production called Police File. Don't know much about this, so there are 3 episodes here in the X-Band collection, so we'll exploit those and then see where the journey takes us. Maybe more will emerge. We'll have to wait and see. This is vk3sl. These are test missions. We're just testing on 160 in the narrowband FM mode, and we are streaming online, live streaming on YouTube. Just look up my call sign, vk3sl, and there is a dedicated YouTube channel live streaming at this very moment. And also there is a log of past missions, quite a few. In fact, we've got something like 137 since the corona lockdown. I had a look through them the other day. So, yeah, there's a certain, I don't know, something pathological about 137 missions in a row. I don't know what it is. But let's have a listen now to Police File, and I'm vk3sl testing. That's the wrong mouse. We'll take 2 with that. Death Pays No Dividend is the name of the program.
Police File. True crime stories which made banner headlines in your newspapers. Stories as in the files of your police department and gathered from the files of one of the largest newspaper organizations in the Southern Hemisphere. Tonight we glance at the file on Lloyd Edward Bray, better known as Lloydie Bray. As usual, all names used are fictitious, but the facts are true in this story of the CIB at its fastest and most efficient. Death pays no dividend. A tough is a tough is a tough. We repeat ourselves because we're describing three of Sydney's hoodlums, all equally as bad as the other. Tom Doran, John Hutchins, and Jeff Roberts. And when Doran, Hutchins, and Roberts got together and their small talk on women and horses was exhausted, there was always the old eternal subject to fall back on.
What I want some dough. Quick, easy dough.
Yeah? Well, if you'd use your nut at Canterbury Saturday, Roberts.
Quit crying at each other, you two. Listen, Doran, what about another job? Time we had a crack at something, ain't it?
Maybe.
Well, you got anything in mind?
Maybe.
Give Mastermind a chance, Hutchins. He's got so many plans, he don't know where to start.
Shut up. Pass the bottle.
Well, what do you got for us, Doran?
A good job. An easy one.
What?
City store.
Which one?
Joseph Dark's.
What?
What's wrong with you, Roberts?
You call that easy? Slap bang in the middle of town? I could whistle from there to the Regent Street station.
You won't have to. Like it, Hutchins?
No, I don't.
Why not?
Well, I agree with Roberts. No city stores that size could be easy, Doran.
The bigger they are, like the harder they fall. When we get inside, it's going to be worth it.
Oh, yeah, I'll give you that in.
I got it planned. I've had it in my mind for weeks. I know where everything is. Showcases, office, jewelry, a lot. Oh, what about it?
Well, tell us more. But I don't like the
Shut
sound.
up. What do you say, Hutchins?
When would you plan to break in, Doran?
Weekend? Saturday night. Like that gives us all day Sunday to pile up the stuff as we want it and then go through when we're sweet.
Yeah.
You know how it is up there. Plenty of good, wide roadway all around. We can spot anybody coming a mile off while we're getting inside. After that, like there's nothing to it.
Yeah? And how do we get inside first? The alarm's going off?
Easy.
Yeah, but you don't know anything about alarms, Doran.
No, but, Lloydie Bray does.
Lloydie Bray? Yeah, but he's inside.
Shut up. Lloydie Bray comes out in a week or so. Like, he gets us inside the store. He opens the safe for us. How's that?
Well, fair enough. If Lloydie Bray will be in it.
Why shouldn't he? Ain't heard anything about him going straight, have you?
He'll need some dough, too, just coming out of stir.
Now, that's the first sensible thing you said, Roberts. What do you say, Hutchins?
All right. I'll be in it if Lloydie Bray will be.
He will be. I'll get in touch with him when he comes out. Meanwhile, lay off the buying. Anything you want, it's going to be on Joseph Dark's.
Lloydie Bray came out of jail. It was the band's day off, so they piped him back to the underworld with a keg or two and a committee of three. Doran, Hutchins, and Roberts.
Hey, Lloydie.
Yeah?
Yeah, let's, get out of this mob in the next room.
Yeah? What do you want?
You, come on.
Okay. Now, what's it? Well, if it ain't old Hutchins, how are you, mate?
Broke. How'd they treat you, Lloydie?
What do you think, huh? Hiya, Roberts. You picked any winners lately?
Oh, lie off, will you?
Hey, you look all right, Lloydie. Yeah. Well, what do you blokes want? I got me a Sheila out at the party and
This is business.
Yeah? Well, so's this.
Come on. Let's get down to it.
Well, what's it all about?
Doran's got a plan, Lloydie. It's a good one.
Yeah?
Yeah. And if you want dough like we want dough, you'll be in it. We're going to crack Joseph Dark's.
Hey, you're flying high, ain't you?
That's right.
How you gonna get inside there?
Well, that's where you come in. Reckon you've lost your touch with the alarms, Lloydie?
No.
What about the safe?
Just lead me to it.
Then what are we arguing about?
Good on you, Lloydie. I knew you'd be in it.
Shut up. Okay, Lloydie. You can go back to the party now. We'll, meet tomorrow and make final plans.
Okay. Hey, listen, where are we gonna get the stuff away?
I thought of that. Hutchins and I'll pinch a car before we start the job.
Yeah. Well, that's all right, then. So long as you don't want to use mine, see? I kept up the registration, but I don't want to use for no jobs.
It won't be. Okay, let's get on with the party.
And, what night's the job?
This coming Saturday. Better give those fingers of yours a bit of practice, Lloydie. We're gonna need 'em.
Doran and Hutchins stole the car on the Wednesday night. They intended to reduco it and change the number plates. But shortly after they'd stolen it, as they were driving through King's Cross,
I'll cut down this street, Doran, and see if it...
Hutchins, step on it.
What?
Step on it, that patrol car. They slowed down, had a good look at us.
Heck, those coppers are everywhere. Hey, they've spotted us, haven't they?
Yeah. Get down this side street quick. We'll ditch it.
If I was superstitious, I'd call this an omen. A bad omen.
Yeah, never mind that. Come on, out of it before they grab us.
Hey, we pinch another one?
Now I got a better idea. We'll use a truck. Anyhow, we can load more stuff into a truck. Come on, out of it.
so they stole a truck, and Doran made Roberts the driver. He kept out of the way on Saturday night while, with Doran and Hutchins keeping watch, Lloydie Bray got to work on the burglar alarms at Joseph Dark's.
Doran. Hey, Doran.
Yeah?
It's okay. It's safe now.
Right. I'll signal Hutchins.
Is he coming?
Yeah. In you go, Lloydie. I'll follow and Hutchins can get in last.
Hey, it's all clear, Doran.
Okay. After me, Hutchins. And watch where you tread. Here, take some of this gear off me.
Right, I've got it.
You inside?
We're right.
Yeah. What do we do now?
Nothing. We sleep, if you want to. And when daylight comes, we set to work. And do the joint over.
Hey, how do you like this? Chicken.
Yeah, not bad, eh? Hey, ain't there any more bread around?
Yeah, here's a loaf. Tastes twice as good when you ain't paying for it, don't it?
Yeah. Like any more chicken in that fridge?
You bet. You know, I could eat me way right through this delicatessen. Hey, better leave some for Lloydie, I suppose.
Yeah, here he comes now. Any luck, Lloydie?
Luck? Well, I got into the vault, if that's what you mean. There's a safe inside that again.
Ah, that dirty, rotten...
Well, you'll have to open the safe.
Of course I'll open it. But listen, what about some food, you blokes?
Yeah, I'll fix you something, eh? You better get cracking on that safe, Lloydie.
We got all day, ain't we?
Yeah, but it'll take time to get that safe open. Next thing we know, Roberts will be here with a truck.
All right. You blokes get anything from around the store?
Yeah, some good stuff. Like, just get that safe open, Lloydie, and we'll have we'd have picked the eyes out of the lot. After that, we wait for Roberts.
Hey, here he is. He's here, Doran.
I can hear. Roberts.
Okay, Doran. All clear.
Stay at the wheel, Roberts. We'll load her. First sign of trouble, give us a yell. We'll jump on and you go for your life.
Okay. You got some good stuff?
Crack the safe and all. Now keep your eyes open and shut up.
The men worked fast. They loaded the truck, nobody saw them, nobody disturbed them. All the merchandise they could load and the contents of the safe too. Goods amounting to £5,000 worth were quickly and competently stacked. And then...
All aboard, boys. Roberts, start her up.
Okay.
We did the trick, Doran. Now let the D's try to find out who did the lot.
Lloydie Bray had issued his challenge. He'd have been surprised to learn how quickly the men of the CIB were to take that challenge up. The robbery discovered, Detective Sergeant Irish and Detective Sergeant Thomas were two of the men from the CIB who went down to inspect the store.
Take a look at this, Irish. See? Here's why this alarm didn't ring.
Yeah. A neat job.
Taking a guess at who did it?
It rings a bell. Let's look inside first.
Good idea. Well, we can go through here. Where's that store manager? He can lead us down to where the safe is.
This is a
There
test
he is.
transmission from vk3sl.
I got a hunch. Yeah. Just as I thought, Thomas.
Some pretty hard work's been put into this. Look at that, right through the vault and then into the safe.
And I think I know whose work it is.
Oh, you do? Who?
Lloydie Bray.
I think you might be right at that. Yes, that is right.
There's all the hallmarks, isn't it?
I think so.
Look, let's go back and check on a few details on Mr. Bray.
All right. I'll leave Matson and Fielding here with the manager. They can get a complete list of the stuff stolen.
It's going to take some time, too. Yeah, where was Bray living last, Wait a while. He's just out.
That's right. Of course he's just out.
Well. The judge puts him away for 5 years, and as soon as he's out, he's back at it.
They never learn, do they?
Never. Well, let's go and find Mr. Lloydie Bray and give him the surprise of his miserable little life.
From the moment that the detectives of the CIB had their suspicions that the breaking and entering was the work of Lloydie Bray, the hunt was on. The thieves were gleeful. They thought it was all over.
Oh, it was nice work, Lloydie. Like this is going to give the D something to think about.
I'll say. Ah, yeah, and Joseph Darks, too. No dividends for them this year, Dora.
We copped the lot. Now, listen, we can't keep this truck forever, Lloydie. We got to get rid of it, see?
Yeah? Now, what's on your mind?
Your car.
Now, listen, Dora.
It's in the clear, ain't it? You left it parked outside the picture show at Des Moines, didn't you?
Yeah, but that was only to give myself an alibi. I told you,
Look, we have to use it, Lloydie. Now, trying to get rid of all the stuff we pinched from off a stolen truck would be just plain stupid.
Yeah. Well, what do you want to do?
Transfer the stuff into your car, of course.
When?
Daylight. Today.
Oh, heck, you're taking a risk, ain't you?
Where's the risk? Like you think the D's are awake up yet to what's going on? The sooner we ditch the truck, the better.
Okay. You're the planner.
Now, look, we just drive up to your car where it's parked, offload the truck, Roberts can drive it off and ditch it somewhere, and we've got the stuff just where we want it.
Well, let's get cracking, then. Call Hutchins and Roberts, and we'll get on to it.
Yeah. Listen, have you got a gun?
No. Have you?
Yeah. Yeah, we won't need it, but just in case, I'm taking it with me.
Simultaneously, the CIB was carrying out plans of its own. Sergeants Iris and Thomas kept a watch on Lloydie Bray's home, but soon realized it was deserted. They knew he had a car, and the car wasn't there either. So a call was put out to all patrol cars in the metropolitan area.
VKG to all cars. VKG to all cars. Message 67, urgent. Message begins. Reference, Joseph Dark robbery. Keep strict lookout for car registered in name of Lloyd Edward Bray. Description follows.
That should bring us results, Thomas.
Yes, I reckon, Irish. You know, seems to me that it's going to be used to cart the stuff away.
Yeah. They're so stupid. And they think they can get away with it. Irish speaking. Yeah? Yeah, where? Yeah, all right. Now listen. We'll be out there in 15 minutes. If anybody approaches the car, give chase and keep in touch by radio. Otherwise, do nothing. Right? Okay.
What is it? Have they found it?
Yeah. Parked outside the Regal Cinema at Des Moines. Now, come on, Thomas. We'll get the boys out there and see what happens.
Well, what's going on, Irish?
Nothing. I had a good look at it, and it's deserted. Well, we just keep watch until something happens.
You cleared the boys back from it?
Ah, yeah. Now we sit and wait events. If only Lloydie Bray knew just how hot his car is.
Nobody approached the car that day, the thieves having deferred their plans for 24 hours. Detectives were stationed at strategic points around it, and 6 hidden pairs of eyes did nothing but watch the silent, lonely car. During the night, the sergeant made a quiet patrol of the area.
Fielding. Fielding.
Yes, Sergeant.
Nothing doing?
All quiet, Sergeant.
All right. And keep your eyes peeled. If they start anything at all, it might be the dead of night.
Yes, Sergeant.
Well, what do you think, Irish?
We can wait. They can leave it there for a week. We'll still be waiting. We've laid our trap. When they walk into it, it's their business.
We've wasted a day, Lloydie. We have to act now.
I still don't like it.
Now, look. You've just got to let us have that car like it's just sitting there waiting for us.
Well, pinch one. I don't like it, Doran.
Then we'll do the job without you. I gave in yesterday when we were all set to go, but...
Hey, you all set?
Lloydie here still doesn't like it.
Well, that's too bad, because we can't hang around with this truck any longer. Come on, Lloydie. Roberts is at the wheel now.
Why don't we wait till 9?
Why don't you use your head? Now, what could look more innocent than us loading the stuff in the middle of the day?
You know, he's made the point, Lloydie.
Yeah. Okay, I'll be in it. But it won't surprise me to find that car crawling with D's.
You're not getting cold feet, Lloydie.
Come on, let's get into the truck and get on with it.
All clear your side, Roberts?
Yeah, she's right. Not a soul anywhere. Where to now, Lloydie?
Turn right at the top here. The car's on the left-hand side. You can't miss it.
Hutchins is signaling from the back. What is it?
All clear, Doran.
Okay, we're going in now.
Car 7 to car 5. Car 7 to car 5. Truck approaching Bray's car.
That you, Fielding?
Yes, Sergeant.
All right. Keep on reporting. This looks like it, Thomas.
Yes, in broad daylight. A shrewd move. If we weren't just around the corner.
Truck stopped, Sergeant. This is it, all right.
Stay put, Fielding. We want the stuff. There is stuff in the truck.
Loaded, Sergeant.
Right. We want the stuff in the car, if that's what they're going to do. Then we catch them red-handed. Meanwhile, a full description of the truck. And no more signals until they've finished the job.
Yes, Sergeant.
You little beaut.
Right down our alley. Well, it will be when they start moving.
Okay, let's get working. No panic, but move fast. Lloydie?
Yeah?
Get behind the wheel. Be ready to move off as soon as I give the signal.
Okay.
All clear, Hutchins?
Not a D within miles. Come on, Roberts. Let's get stuck into it.
They're taking a long time over that loading, Thomas.
Yes. Of course, they've got a lot of stuff to load. I wonder if these boys are armed.
We'll soon find out. We can find
Hello.
out.
Here's Fielding. He's on the air now.
Car 7 to car 5. Loading's finished, Sergeant. Truck's moving off.
Well, let it go. We'll get it later.
The car's moving off now. Bray's at the wheel.
Right. We're moving in, Fielding. Long stop as we come. In we go.
Not too fast, Lloydie.
I'm getting out of here just as fast as
Step on it, Lloydie.
What the...
He's right. They're onto us.
Step on it.
Don't be a goat. Better stop, Lloydie. Stop.
I can't stop.
Hey, out of this. Look out, they're crowding us.
Stop! Stop! Get under arrest! Stop the car!
I'll fix these.
Watch it, Thomas! They're trying to get you.
I'll get them all right.
Don't be a fool, Lloydie. Stop the car.
You brought me into this, but I'll get us out of it.
Hey, they've jumped behind. Come on, Lloydie. Show them out.
All right, if we're going to be stupid.
Don't shoot, Doran.
I'll fix them. Missed. But I'll get them all.
Hey, look out. We're taking the corner.
They took a pot shot, Irish.
Yeah. Two can play at that game. Come on, close them again.
Here they come again.
Let them come.
Faster, you stupid dope, go on.
Doing 60, ain't I?
I'll stop him. Watch the road, Lordy. I'll stop him.
He's lifted the gun again, Irish. I can see. Close them, will you? Close them. Got the bonnet. Stop. Stop that car. Okay, then I'll stop you.
He got me. Doran! Doran!
Drop back, Thomas. Drop back.
This is a test transmission from vk3sl.
Stop right. Look at him. That stopped him. Come on, Thomas. Stop, you man. Stop. Give him a blast, Thomas. All right. We give up.
You killed him. You killed Lordy Bray.
Lucky it wasn't you. Come on, get up, both of you.
I'll see how Bray is. Watch him, Irish.
You're not there to watch us. Like you murdered him, you shot Bray.
This time we were the lucky ones. Why didn't you stop?
We couldn't stop.
No, but you could get a pistol out, couldn't you? You could fire at us.
We weren't going to give trouble.
No, not now you won't. How is he?
He's not so good. I'll call an ambulance.
Right. Come on, you two. The party's over.
If he dies, Sergeant, you've murdered him.
If he dies, I've done my duty. If you'd had your way, it would have been just as easily have been one of us. Next time, you boys might realize that you just can't get away with it.
Lloydie Bray died in hospital within the hour. His car was taken to the CIB and checked for fingerprints. Amongst those found were those of Roberts, the driver of the truck. The search for him and the truck went on.
Sergeant Irish. Yeah? Yeah, where? All right. We'll throw a cordon round the place and grab him. What's that? No. He won't give any trouble. Not after this morning's little effort.
What's that? News of Roberts?
Yeah, he's in a house at Clavelli, truck and all. Come on, let's take him in. And that'll put paid to that account.
Yes, and the only person who draws a dividend is Lloydie.
The others will get theirs. A few years in which to think it over.
Roberts was arrested without any trouble. The CIB chase was complete. At the trial, Doran, Hutchins, and Roberts tried to protest they were the victims of police toughness. But the judge thought otherwise. Hutchins was given 5 years, Doran 2.5 years, and was described as an habitual criminal, and Roberts was given 3.5 years. And at the inquest on the death of Lloyd Edward Bray, the coroner said, "I compliment the police force on their work in this case. I commend them all. As for Detective Sergeant Irish, who shot Bray, he did his duty." It pays to remember, a tough is a tough. But when he meets the men of your CIB, he meets his superior, and you and I are protected.
Just as well we have Big Brother to tell us how to behave. A tough is a tough. Yes, no comment. Let's see what we have next on the agenda. We have a little while to go, another 10 minutes or so, and I notice that we have something interesting from Mr. Collier. He's put up a... Here we go. Yeah, here it is. It says, Jacob Collier plays the same song in 18 increasingly complex emotions. It's from a series called Wired. So we'll have a listen now to Jacob Collier, and he's playing his takes on the Londonderry Air, or Danny Boy, as it is colloquially known. VK3sl testing.
Hello everybody, my name is Jacob Collier and I'm a musician. Today I'll be playing and transforming a familiar tune through a variety of different emotions of increasingly abstract natures. The song, Londonderry Air, otherwise known as Danny Boy. I'll be playing this tune a few times, and as I'm doing so, emotions of increasing complexity will be fired at me in real time. The challenge will be to seamlessly transition from one emotion to the next without stopping playing the tune. I have not been shown these emotions in advance, so what you'll be seeing is a real-time intuitive musical process as I try to explain or describe these emotions one after the other. After each performance, I'll be doing a boatload of musical analysis, describing what's going on in my brain as I'm making these musical decisions. I've never attempted anything like this before in my entire life. I'm quite excited, a little bit nervous. I think it's going to be really challenging and it's going to be really fun. Let's give it a shot. Okay, so 3 different tiers of emotional complexity to work with, ranging from tier 1, the most simplistic of all the emotions, to tier 2, more abstract, compound emotions, to tier 3, the least defined, most subjective states of all. Let's begin with tier 1. Here goes. So that was my attempt at describing 6 tier 1 emotions: happy, sad, angry, mysterious, triumphant, and serene. Let's take this apart. So with happy, we begin in the key of F major. And one thing you may notice is that I'm using lots of triads here. And when I say a triad, I mean like a 3-note chord, which is very self-assured. Overall, it feels joyous, it feels bright, it feels hopeful, it feels like something that resembles happiness. So generally speaking, it's pretty safe to assume that with major chords, things tend to feel more consonant, more positive, a little more comfortable. One might say happy, whereas with minor chords, things often feel less consonant, a little colder, sadder, more austere, especially when these chords are played quietly. Now, there is something rather solemn about these sounds. We're visiting a bit more of a transparent feeling. We're also slightly quieter, and we've ascended into the upper notes of the piano. I'm also experimenting here with a little dissonance. See this chord? I've got this little tension here between the G and the A flat. And interestingly, this tension here is almost like an inversion of this tension. This is a tension close together, and this is a tension far away, both describing, I suppose, a different kind of sadness. But there's something quite tender, I suppose, about this repeated pattern. Very sad. Into anger. As you can see, I'm playing very loudly. I'm also playing very low on the piano now. I've ended into this dark and dangerous zone. And a lot of the notes are also dissonant, so they're not particularly within triads like they were with happy or sad. They are a law unto themselves. One of the challenges for me is how do I get from angry to mysterious? And so to climb out of it, I chose a scale which many of you guys will be familiar with just from watching films or seeing theatre shows. It's a sound called the whole tone scale. There is an equivalent distance between every note in the scale, and it's a scale sort of barren of tonality and creates this extremely interesting sense of transparent wonder, mystique. kind of strangeness, a little bit of the bizarre. For me, mysteriousness is all about being suspended, almost like I'm viewing the world from above. Things don't make any sense. Things are very confusing. But once I descend into being triumphant, the triads return, these big open sounds. I'm repeating each sound 3 times at the beginning of this. Ba-ba-ba, ba-ba-ba, ba-ba-ba. It feels almost like a national anthem or something. Repeated notes, repeated chords that bring you back home to F major. But when we get to F major, we're very serene. So once the triumphantness has laid out the foundation for our return to home, what's left is the serene. And as you can see with this serenity, there's notes which are quieter, there's fewer notes, things are feeling delicate. It's just serene. Okay, so now it's time for tier 2. These emotions will be slightly less defined, slightly more abstract, and increasingly subjective. Let's give them a shot.
This is frightened. This is flirtatious. Now we have confused.
This is a test transmission from vk3sl.
Next one is disruptive. And we now have reassuring. Betrayed is the next emotion.
I really enjoyed that tier. That was good fun. It was really challenging. It was way more challenging than tier 1. They're far more abstract and they're far less objective. And I found myself drawing far more on my musical intuition than on my musical knowledge. Let's see what we can make of it. So frightened. Lots of strange intervals, lots of odd sounds, a lot of distance between the lowest note and the highest note, chords which create dissonance between themselves and the melody, the feeling of general unsettlement. Things feel like they're going slightly wrong. The melody, which feels so familiar, is being disrupted and recontextualized in a very strange way. This transition from frightened to flirtatious, that's a difficult one. I can't think of a single time in my life, or maybe 1 or 2, where I've been really frightened and then straight away I've started to flirt with someone. It's like quite rare. It's quite an interesting thing to describe musically. So you can hear me sort of being overtly decorative here. I'm playing with parts of the melody, I'm making it fun, I'm stretching out the time, and over the course of the second half of this, I actually fall into a pocket, which I suppose gives way to dance, a sort of levity, I suppose, which one needs when one flirts, I can tell you. So this musical confusion has some things in common with the earlier frightenedness. I'm taking small fragments of the melody and I'm scattering them all over the place, all around the piano, high and low. But the difference here is that with confusion, things are feeling slightly more staccato and short and almost like they're creeping around. I'm sort of juggling all these different tonalities at once. It's like a sort of emotional tug of war. I can hear my ear being led in one direction and then me pulling that melody back, and then another direction in the other hand and pulling that melody back, reeling things out and reeling things in. It's a very confusing space. Having finally made it out of the confusion back to our starting happy key of F major, my left hand seems to be dropping all sorts of strange dissonant bombs. And so after being shell-shocked at that huge blast, it takes me a few seconds to recalibrate and find my feet again, but when I do, I'm in F sharp major. So it's almost like the right hand is saying like, oh, wait, where was I? Let me get started all over again. Only to be disrupted yet again by another left-hand blast. The left hand is determined to get in the way of the right hand. Oh, and finally, peace in B-flat major. I've also returned to a consonant major tonality, which is reminiscent of happiness, I suppose. But there's something very calm about this, and it's very flowing. I've also reintroduced time. And there's a basic structure about that I suppose feels comforting. It feels like there's something within it that you can see form in, and you can lock into. Perhaps you can hide in or something. And see how I'm repeating the chords within the key center. It feels sort of cyclical, almost like you're being hugged with this warm blanket or something. It's lovely. The feeling of betrayal is such a delicate and subtle thing to describe, because too much consonance feels wrong, but too much dissonance feels wrong. It's a very careful balance between absence and silence and space and hollowness and things which are still there but feel like they don't belong. And there's this tension pulling between the right hand and the left hand throughout this section, which I think perhaps shows that feeling. It reminds me of things in my own life where things haven't been able to agree and they end up apart, and it feels awfully weird. And so with the left hand and the right hand having been unable to agree on something, the left hand just drops out and leaves the right hand hanging here at the end, which I suppose is as accurate a depiction of betrayal as I could have hoped to show. Okay, so it's time for our final tier of emotions. These are the most abstract emotions of all, extremely subjective, little defined, subtle combinations of simple states, really open to interpretation. I don't know exactly what to expect, but we'll see where we end up on the other side. Here goes.
Seeing a long-lost friend. Inevitability. Guilt. Forgiveness. This emotion is entitled Jacob Collier. Finally, closure.
The challenge of accurately describing these spaces comes far less from the cerebral part of my brain and far more from the spontaneous one. In describing these 6 emotions, I'm drawing on an utterly different set of devices, experience, feelings, and knowledge from both of the previous 2 tiers. These are such abstract, open, fragile, delicate concepts to describe. There's space for me to bring my own interpretation to these things, which is a bit of a relief. That said, it was a huge challenge. Let's take a listen. So, sing a long lost friend, and you begin to feel comfortable within it. Ah, there's the long lost friend, that D major low down. Feels like I've established a connection with something. I'm noticing elements of reassuring and serene. The diatonic major tonality cluster chord, the calming dynamics, the amount of space there is around the notes. And here, 2 moments of pause with a slight change in hue. This second chord slightly darker from the first. You see how I've introduced that B flat in the left hand? That removes your ear from the tonality of D major. Something has changed, something is altered, something is being viewed from a different light. And here, I'm pivoting from the long lost friend to inevitability, and I'm using the C sharp to get there. The C sharp belongs in the key of A major, which is where we've been, but it also belongs in the key of F sharp major, which is where we're going. And so this C sharp is a bridge from one emotion to the next. Here comes the guilt. There's a sickening sort of weight to these chords, like an increasing amount of heaviness in these voicings. There's a lingering tension that you can't quite put your finger on, and each chord presents a different relationship with this top note, and they're all slightly uncomfortable, and they all feel heavy laden, and they all feel like they're trying to shift the weight from one place to another, and they don't feel quite right. It's a very interesting musical predicament to have found myself in. And even there, see, I add that E, and it changes the whole compass of the thing. It creates a stodgy kind of blockade in the middle where something is stuck and it's forcing the chord to change, but the E is fighting the D sharp in the bass, and then there's this F sharp at the top. There's a kind of parallel camaraderie, but there's this lack of loyalty, which is very interesting. And each of these heavy, guilty chords is repeated. It's like it's embedding itself within the music somehow. The weight shifts from the D sharp, this closed chord, to an E, a more open chord. You've got E, B, and F sharp. It's like a fifth structure. Things are opening up and feeling more transparent. And here, a D major triad just to cleanse the palette. And this here is from the end of the tune, Danny Boy, and it's almost like a reminiscing of something coming back to you. It feels familiar, but it also feels like it's been slightly forgotten. And by the time we reach this F major, some piece has been found. It feels like I'm finding my way to a resting point, and F major is the resting point, followed by the C major, and back to F, the most peaceful of all keys. And this one note emerges, and with it and the repetition of it, I'm conjuring up all these different musical ideas and forces to express this Jacob Collier which is about to happen. And in true Jacobian style, this first chord of the Jacob Collier passage is a super, ultra, hyper Lydian chord. It's a chord stacked on top of a chord, stacked on top of a chord, stacked on top of a chord. At last, I'm liberated from these emotions and I'm just expressing something. It's loud, it's clear, all sorts of bundles of notes flying around all over the place. I guess I'm used to it at this point. And here's this joyous flurry in upwards direction. To continue the melody at the top, which resolves in this weird, surprising way. The A, which you thought was going to be part of F major, is part of F sharp minor. Can you believe it? And I suppose this poses the question, well, what is a perfect ending? I think for me, the ending for this particular improvisation draws upon some of the forgiveness and some of the happiness and some of the reassurance and the serenity of earlier on. And the notes are becoming quieter, the range is decreasing. I've entered back into this major tonality. You can hear these nice diatonic cluster chords. Things are settling down. It's time to make some kind of musical piece. There's nothing more perfect than that. These disconnected emotions, one after the other, kind of put me on the spot, and it revealed what my immediate musical palette was saying about me, and that was really interesting and strange and weird and cool. One of the greatest challenges and privileges of being a musician is the process of learning how to alchemize the forces in your life to create with. You learn to transform them into something which has form, structure, something which can be heard and understood, even believed, even by people who don't experience the emotions that you're drawing from in the same way as you. In some ways, an exercise like this is very far removed from the real world. Composers don't sit around trying to portray exact emotions on a list. It's not really what happens. But I do think that it's an interesting exercise, and it definitely gets you to think about what you make music using, like what materials are and what parts of your brain you're using to engage different elements of your language. A lot of the time, the most interesting music that I write comes from emotions that I don't really understand. And I think the process of trying to get inside them, not necessarily to control them or to explain them, but just to get inside them, is the most powerful thing I can do to be creative. By being thoughtful and nuanced around the choices that you make, you can add so much dimension to the music that you play and also the music that you listen to.
Well, that was completely remarkable and a really liberating portrayal of musical language. And of course, as a listener, it's a highly personal thing, and that there's no right way. He was expressing a journey in his own creative prowess, and he was evolving and commentating on that. But of course, as listeners, we can basically go anywhere we want with anything, and we completely own the experience. That's one of the wonders of music. We don't have to tag particular emotions as such. Emotions in music is a very complex confetti of experiences, but it's good to be available to it and just let the music wash over one. That's what I believe very strongly, and I really found that liberating. Great to hear, and I hope there's more of that sort of thing. I think I might save that for the list for Friday night as well. I'd like to hear it again. vk3sl test missions on 160 and streaming online, and we'll wind up at this point. Hopefully be back tomorrow. I've got busy days now, so I haven't quite got the same energy and time, but we'll keep coronaing along while we can and finding interesting things to explore. See you tomorrow.